Hi, I'm Jameson Newlander, Alan Frog from the Lost Boys, and you're watching the Frog Brothers Podcast.
What's Scooby-Doo running from a spooky ghost?
It's refreshment time, folks.
Are either one of these any good?
Do you like scary movies?
I don't watch movies.
I have to return some videotapes.
You have a TV? No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide. Don't need a TV.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me Shell. It's the fucking truth.
Over 1,600 titles, each for rent at just $2 the first night, and only
Finish him.
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you are aware that there's an invention called television, and on this invention they show shows, right?
Watch a few movies, take a few notes.
Okay, I want channels 18, 24, 63, 109, 87, and the Weather Channel.
Welcome to the Frog Brothers Podcast with your hosts, Justin and Alec.
What's happening, kids? Welcome to the Frog Bros Podcast. My name's Justin.
I'm Alec.
Hello, I'm Nick.
And that's Nick. It's Nick's fucking birthday. Happy birthday, you old fucking fart.
Thank you.
How old are you?
39.
30 man.
And today,
Who gives a fucking shit?
Today is my birthday. It's not just this week. It is actually today.
Oh.
Try not to suck 39
Fucking
dicks
A,
on your
man.
way through the parking lot.
It's also Janet Jackson's birthday.
Fuck yeah, you gonna do some coke with her? Oh, wait, she's dead.
And Pierce Brosnan.
Oh, she's not dead yet. Janet's not.
It's Pierce
I was
Brosnan's
thinking of Whitney Houston for some reason.
69th
Oh,
birthday.
God.
I was thinking, like, could you imagine going to hell and hanging out with Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston?
And Hitler.
Yeah.
Hello, Michael.
Jeffrey Epstein.
Basically. Well, you'd be on his island in hell. Damn! Oh, shit. So, we got a special episode for you.
Yeah, we got some special things. Want to go ahead and go through some of these news items here.
Yeah, let me drop the first one here for you. So, it was reported that some fucking freak went to Jason Reitman's house.
Video Bob.
Yeah, and everyone just assumes it's Video fucking Bald, based on, like, the description of someone with no fucking couth, unable to control themselves and going and being a freak in public and having to have that. It's really fucking twisted, though, that
You know, it just
you
goes to
shouldn't
show
have to
that
worry about that.
the size of Ghostbusters fandom, compared to things like Star Wars, this doesn't happen in Star Wars community. I mean, people have got death threats and weird letters and shit, but that happens everywhere. But no, I don't think anybody, as far as I've seen publicized, nobody's shown up to George Lucas's house and been like, here's my Star Wars script. Although, it does seem likely to have happened. You sent him? Gotcha, good.
Yeah, and that's just fucking weird, and I just think it's hilarious how everyone in the community is just, like, making fucking Video Bald jokes about it, and you're like, yeah, he really is fucking lacking the
Have other
social
people made
awareness
that
of...
joke?
Oh, fuck yeah, it's been all over, man.
I saw the Paul Feig one,
You know, those...
I bet it was Paul Feig. But...
Yeah, I saw that, and I'm like, whatever. Paul Feig actually fucking made a movie, all you jealous haters. You don't have to have liked it, the fact that he got paid to make a movie that you fucking despise. He's willing to unzip and just let you choke on that for a minute.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
So, also in the news, Stranger Things, the new Part 4's the promotional push is out. There's lots of merchandise out there. I recently picked up this Domino's pizza box, the retro style.
Recently, as in 3 hours ago.
Yeah. And it has a little Stranger Things thing because they have an app for mind ordering, it says. Now you can order pizza with your mind. On the side. Fuck you. Get out of the way.
Fuck me. Fuck you. On
the side, you got the Noid's picture. And it says, have you seen the Noid? The Noid was last spotted near Hawkins National Laboratory. Believed to be equipped with zany gadgets and a vendetta against hot pizza.
Look at
Stay
that.
vigilant and protect your pizza.
Look at that 1980s QR code.
Exactly. Right? That's why you just cover this up with something else, and it looks pretty dope.
I just hope they go back to the old school packaging after this promotional push. Like, right? Just keep it old school. Like, that's clean packaging right there.
Yeah, so...
Everyone wants to dirty their shit down with too much. You're like, I don't need all that shit on there. Keep it simple.
Over-designed.
It is.
Doctor Who, recently they announced the new actor to play the Doctor, Yasmin Finney, who is a black actor.
I was trying to find some racist comments because all the sexist comments for the last one. But
well, there's definitely...
I think they're less racist about it than they were sexist, I guess.
Yeah, that's not even the name of the person who's been announced, as far as I know. That's just the other Black Doctor, I think, that I had written down there, because that's the first one. But that's in an alternate universe, but this one's the main cast Doctor. So it's like, still there's a ton of annoying racist comments on the internet, so.
Yeah, what do you expect? It's not a woman anymore.
Gremlins, Secret of the Mogwai announced their cast.
Voice casting, yeah. There's actually some big hitters on there.
Yeah, to say the least. Ming-Na Wen from Fennec from, The Mandalorian and Boba Fett and shit.
Now Wen.
And Mulan movie, Street Fighter.
Yeah, she's also she had a big role on the S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show as well, so she's...
James Hong from Big Trouble in Little China, Blade Runner, Wayne's World 2, among things. Exactly.
Yeah, he's fucking glorious in that.
B.D. Wong, obviously, Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. And someone named Isaac Wong, I think, actually, playing Sam Wing.
Yeah, I'm excited for this series. I wish they'd drop a full-on trailer.
They dropped the pictures. I'm not as excited with the animation style, but I'm gonna give it a chance still.
Yeah,
I didn't like the Camp Cretaceous stuff at first style, but I like the show, and people are like hating on it, and I'm like, it's a fucking children's show. What do you expect? People still die in the show.
Oh yeah,
children, right?
Yeah, no, that show has some spooky elements to it, and I'm rewatching it right now, just getting ready for the new Jurassic World.
I thought children got ate on Camp Cretaceous. Isn't that what you said? Who told me that?
People get eaten.
I heard children.
There's children in it.
But they don't get eaten.
Not as far as I've seen yet.
Oh shit! Who lied to me?
I don't know. People die.
That's about all the news have. People die, buildings burn, but real love is forever. Name that movie.
Backdraft.
The Crow.
Oh.
Yeah. So, we're just going to jump right into our... do you want to do top 5 first before we get into the movie?
Sure.
All right.
Fuck yeah. Let's cue some theme music, you son of a bitch.
Top 5. 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 Top 5.
This is top 5.
There's a slight delay.
This is top 5. So, top 5.
Top 5
live action shows is what Nick said.
That aren't comedies or something.
We kind of ruled out most comedies.
Drama primarily, at least.
Yeah.
So,
because you said you've done cartoons before or something, and then
and sitcoms.
So it's already kind of narrowed down.
What are we doing here? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. My number 5 is True Detective. I really enjoyed that show when I
saw the first season.
A couple of seasons out there, and it was pretty good. I'm hoping they'll do more of it.
I like seeing Daddario's.
I like,
acting.
there's so many like crime and like police shows out there, but this one's fucking like gritty since it's R-rated and stuff.
Is the second season good?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everything.
I watched the first. I like the first season.
Everything I saw in that I enjoyed.
It's an anthology though. It's like different characters every season,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's another great thing about it. It tells a good story, but it's always well cast and acted. So,
my number 5 is the long-running Doctor Who.
I didn't know you actually watched it.
I don't watch it a whole lot because I'm kind of like don't like all of the seasons and stuff, but like certain segments and people and characters and arcs I really love. So
I know like lots of episodes are lost, like from the 60s and stuff or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
there are
you can't
some
even
lost
watch
ones.
every episode if you want.
And then there's some DVD releases of those lost episodes. I have some of those.
Nice.
But
well, go for it, Nick.
My number 5 is 24, starring Kiefer Sutherland as Jack Bauer. Who I've met.
Nice. I've never seen that show, honestly.
Oh, it's really good. It's really good.
Heard good
Although
stuff
I haven't watched the. They did like a.
Didn't they do a movie of that recently or something?
Well, they did like a reprisal season. Like.
Does he ever sleep? Because it's a 24-hour.
Not
period.
during the 24 hours. No.
Well, what the fuck? Come on now.
He doesn't apparently.
Does he shit or piss?
They don't. Not that they show.
Well, come on.
I mean, sometimes they cut away to other characters, so that's probably when he doesn't.
Jerks off and pisses and shits.
I mean, what else is there to do?
When the cameras are off.
Those are the things that keep a man going.
Or on. Fuck it.
It's a great show, though.
My number 4 is Ozarks. I just finished that.
Ozark.
That's my next.
I like that. I like that show, The Family Guy.
That's my next to watch is Ozark. I think.
It's a good series. You're gonna enjoy it.
Except for the ending. Did you watch the ending yet?
The ending was fucking lazy. That's all I'll say about it. It
I
was
never
just
expect
lazy.
a show to end well.
Well, the ending is like, I could see an argument for how it ended. We're not going to talk about it, but...
Yeah, don't spoil.
But...
I just felt like a cop-out, like they didn't really want to
It just
resolve
felt
anything.
utterly disappointing. Like, the last 3 episodes were just trash.
When I watch it, we can do like a quick series review if you guys want.
My number 4 is Lost.
I've started that series, but I haven't gotten all the way through it, and I know some people fucking live and die by that series.
That's my number 2.
See, it has so many weird ups and downs because, you know, that's what happens with a show where there's so many people involved. There's like lots of unresolved plot lines and things, and confusing at times in ways that are dumb as hell, but it's awesome too.
I think it's pretty consistently up until maybe like the last season and a half.
See, I've heard just through
I really love like season 4, and a lot of people hated it.
Well, season 4 was during the writer's strike, so it ended up being a lot shorter than it was supposed to. So I think a lot of shit got.
There's lots of interesting cast that comes in and out of it too and stuff, and it's one of those first shows where they're like, oh, we're just going to kill characters off as we please.
Well, originally Michael Keaton was going to play Jack in the pilot, and he was going to die.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember why, but they didn't go that route.
Interesting.
So that's my number 4. What's your number 4, Nick?
House MD.
Never seen that either.
Oh,
I've seen it. I don't like it.
You didn't watch enough of it.
I've seen like 4 or 5 episodes, and they were all the same kind of like thing.
Yeah,
and, you know,
it's pretty basic at the beginning, but
very formulaic until it gets started.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah, it gets a lot better. It gets really good.
He goes into a doctor's office where some doctor can't figure out what's wrong with his thing. I tried everything. It should be this, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well, have you tried peeing in his mouth and sticking a lollipop in his butt?"
The more interesting aspects of the show aren't the procedural medical stuff. It's him being like a handicapped, addicted to painkillers and all the psychological shit he goes through. And he's funny as fuck.
I'll take your word on that. My number 3 is Stranger Things. Super excited about the next season coming up. Now, there's ups and downs. Like season 2, a lot of people hated it. Season 2 is not terrible. It's just not as thrilling as season 1, but they had so much fucking hype and pressure out of nowhere. And like season 3, they took their time to get to it. I'm hoping they're going to do right by the next couple
It's a good
seasons.
show, but I think it could have just done one season and been fine. I don't see enough.
I loved season 3, but season 2 is definitely a dip in quality. But
yeah, I think I like 3.
It still has elements that I love about it, like Bob.
Yeah, and I think they really succumbed to the pressure of like trying to live up to that season 1 as fast as they did, because that was a very quick turnaround for a second season of a show that was an unexpected hit.
Yeah, I'm excited for the new one though, so we'll just have to see.
Yep. So what's your number 3?
Tonight on Unsolved Mysteries.
Wow.
That's a good fucking point.
I fucking love all the... I don't love so much... I love like the aliens and the weird monsters and beasts and shit. Some of the murdery stuff, the haunted, the ghost, all that stuff's the best.
Yeah, I always wanted the alien stuff.
Yeah, the ones where someone just disappears and they kind of know where they're at is like some, like, oh, this bank robber did this shit. And then I love how they always have like, update, we found such and such.
Yeah.
Watching the reruns on like Hulu's amazing. And then they have the new series. Did you ever watch any of the new stuff they did on Netflix?
Good.
Yeah,
it's not terrible, but
it's not the same.
When you don't have the host on there, you should have just titled the series something else, because it just doesn't feel like Unsolved Mysteries.
For sure.
Totally missing out there. My number 2, Twin Peaks.
I think you skipped me.
Oh, I did? Sorry. What was your number 3?
My number 3 is Alias, also by J.J. Abrams, which preceded Lost, starring Jennifer Garner.
Oh, fascinating. Haven't seen that either.
It was a spy with a little sci-fi thrown in.
There's a lot of the TV series, in the early to mid-2000s I just wasn't watching a lot of, just because I worked fucking evenings a lot and I didn't have a way to record anything. And I didn't
Alias
have cable,
and 24 went at the same time, and then I think Lost was like 04.
Yeah, so
I watched Lost on Netflix later.
Yeah, that's where I started. I just need to go back and try to refinish it and get through it. But
such a good show.
Yeah, like I said before, my number 2 is Twin Peaks. It's one of those shows that I've only seen in the last several years, but it just fucking grows on you. It's so fucking good.
When are we going to finish that?
Alec needs to get the return on Blu-ray.
The new ones.
My number 2 is The X-Files. I fucking love The X-Files.
I still haven't seen all of that.
It's my shit. I haven't watched like the last... Well, let's put it this way. I haven't watched like season 9, but I've watched 10 and 11. Because season 9 was like the original finale. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
They've
they did 2
since
more,
come back and done 2
The comeback short seasons they did were so fucking good, and they're so much fun. And
I heard they're really bad, though, but I don't
People are just
I don't
weird.
trust that, but I just...
Well, I hadn't watched as a diehard fan in a minute, but when I saw those, I had so much fun with it again, revisiting those characters, and you got you know, they had a fair amount of story arc, and they did a good balance of story of the week stuff too. So, for short season episodes, one of them was like 10, one of them was only 6 or something, maybe.
So, yeah,
wasn't a lot because they just worked around their schedules for David Duchovny and Gillian Anderson. What's your number 2, Nick?
What was yours?
X-Files.
Oh, X-Files. That's right. Mine was Lost, as I said before.
Nice. Well, my number 1.
Great show.
My number 1 is X-Files. That was one of the first fucking TV shows I fell in love with and like made it a habit to watch.
I watched it when it first aired. Like I caught the very first episode and watched it for a while and just didn't keep up with it.
So the first season, you know, had this like companion book that talked about all the episodes for it. I remember having that, or maybe it was the first couple seasons, but I remember reading.
There's
about
a couple different versions of it.
Yeah, but I remember I had that one, and it was pretty awesome because like even though you couldn't watch it, you'd read about it, and like that was one of the first books I bought for a movie or TV show that I really was like, oh man, there's so much cool shit behind the scenes going on here. Really kind of getting into the lore of stuff just besides the program itself. Love that series.
Well, my number 1's Twin Peaks, obviously.
Shocker.
Yeah. I love that show more than any other show that's not a comedy, for sure.
What's your number 1, Nick? Birthday boy?
The entire Star Trek franchise. I didn't want to just pick one.
What would you
my
pick?
top 5 would be Star Trek.
Okay, your Desert Island. Yeah, your Desert Island, though. You can only
rank them for me, though. At least just the first 3 or so.
Yeah, your top 3 Star Trek series. Just rank those, the top 3.
Let me guess. Next Generation's on there, right?
Yeah. Deep Space Nine, I think, would be my top. And then Next Generation. Ew.
Then what do you do after that?
Voyager?
Yeah.
Enterprise? I'm not sure which. The original series, you know, is a classic, but it's still like 1960s kind of campy.
Yeah, it's like watching Batman.
Exactly. There's like that Batman vibe to it. And then when they got to the movies and they finally started trying to take it a little more serious, like it was like, oh shit, you guys really are taking a different approach here, which I appreciated because it was familiar, but also like breaking new ground for it. So
yeah.
Which we will be talking about tonight.
It's funny that you mentioned Star Trek.
In a new segment, which I have to get the lyrics out for this song for.
Just got to get the words out.
We're going to see how this sounds.
Yeah, you didn't write the music for the lyrics.
No, I didn't. But that shouldn't matter.
I should have refreshed you with the lyrics sooner. I want it to be kind of jazzy.
Oh, well, it's sexy.
Okay. Well, yeah, that works. Because it's sexy lyrics.
Here we go. Here we go.
Are you lonely, girl? I've got what you need. Fill you up, honey. Look at the size of this Nick.
Yeah, there wasn't enough song for all those lyrics.
About that.
I could probably do a better one. I can record some of these lyrics though and fix it for next time.
Next time you can start with
and I'll be
the
like
third verse.
Moaning and shit in the background. Oh. I love that.
Oh. What's the other switch do?
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
Nothing.
No.
Unless we assign something to it.
Or if we have a phone call come in, we can channel it to
It's
that.
a blank.
Oh, then they'll
just
be
like these are doing nothing right now.
Oh, we need phone calls. We need to start taking calls.
And if we ever do live podcasts, we can.
Yeah, if we do some live stuff, we could do phone calls.
We could start crank calling people.
Or I could have an interview again. We should set up something. But Nick's pick this week. Nick, you want to tell us about your pick and why you picked it?
My pick is Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, which I believe was 1982. Right?
The Ass of Khan.
The year 1982.
I should know that. But
Kirstie Alley's first feature role in a movie.
Yeah.
I gotta say,
she was looking pretty smart.
She's not as fucking annoying as she became later in life in this movie.
I noticed they didn't allow her she didn't allow them to shave her eyebrows to do because Leonard Nimoy had his eyebrows shaved and then they added the.
Oh.
But in the next two films, this character's played by a different actress, and she has the.
Even though Kirstie Alley came back as like a flashback, or almost came back in a flashback sequence or something shit.
No, she never came back. I think
I think she got into Cheers shortly after this, and then probably Scientology and all that crazy shit. So
yeah, oh, in Scientology, yeah, you're like, well, I can't do a sci-fi show when I'd rather.
That's why her Cheers character never appeared on Frasier, because Frasier was playing a psychiatrist, and they don't believe in psychiatry.
But they believe in alcohol poisoning.
So she was like the only
That's
Cheers
good.
character not to appear on Frasier.
Interesting. I thought it was because they banned her from acting after Look Who's Talking. Look Who's Talking too, and Look Who's Talking Now.
You're a mean one.
Look Who's Talking's great.
She's a lot like Oprah Winfrey, where like she's had this very public struggle with like
fluctuation,
weight gain and loss, like unhealthy levels. It's like up and down, up and down. Or like, I get it, you're struggling, but Jesus Christ, do we have to keep writing magazine articles about it? Like as a kid, even I remember being
she
like,
used to do those weight loss commercials too.
Yeah, well, yeah, the weight loss commercials and like seeing her on fucking marketing ads at the grocery store or something when you're with your mom checking out. You're like, why is this? Why the fuck's this lady everywhere? She gets stung by a bee again?
Holy shit!
But I mean, I wish her all the best.
She's still alive?
I think so. Yeah, she's like in her 70s now. She's old enough for you.
Oh my. Let's see.
You probably drink her bath water since you're into, Star Trek.
Check on her today. Let's add the word today to this Google search.
He's gonna look her up. It's his fetish, guys.
Oh wow.
We'll let him do what he wants.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's like a you don't know what the rest looks like there. Yeah, see? Up and down.
For 8,
I'm into it. I know what you're
She
talking
got
about.
those eyes though. Just look in her eyes,
The fact that she was a poor sport for Star Trek, though, I mean, she loses a lot, in my opinion. Like, your eyebrows grow back. You could have at least had somebody, like, make up over them and then paint them on.
Yeah, they could have put something over.
They have the technology. I mean, we just watched Ninja Turtles, and, like, we saw how good the scars looked on Horokosaki's face.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you can do scars that look like that on his face, why can't you just use a little bit of putty and cover up her eyebrows and then paint the rest on?
71.
I like the aesthetic and like production value of this movie, though. It's fun to look at.
It's very much like you can see the Star Wars influence on the early Star Trek films, but it's so fresh and still does its own thing. It doesn't try to mimic that completely. Like there's certain elements that you kind of get that vibe from, but at the same time, Star Trek's really...
Star Wars is just 2001: A Space Odyssey, also.
Yeah,
and Star Trek.
That's what a lot of people compare the first Star Trek movie to.
Yeah.
Well, see, they, a lot of, the sets and the models and even some shots were filmed for the first movie, and then I think they spent too much money on it, and then they didn't make enough money back. So this movie got quite a budget cut. So there was a lot of, cause they use the same sets and models and even some like flyby shots and stuff. But you guys like the little creatures that they put in their ears?
Those are fucked up.
Yeah, that was cool.
Like
that's something that's like kind of often spoofed in sci-fi, and like it's kind of a recurring thing. Something like a small organism goes in and takes your mind or body over.
Yeah, I hadn't watched this one before, obviously, but I had watched the 2009 one, and I obviously saw all the references to this in that, like
the Kobayashi Maru test.
Exactly, that he shows him cheating on that in that movie. So.
Supposedly Spock created in that universe. I don't know how that gels, but I don't know if you guys are too familiar with Ricardo Montalban.
I knew he played Khan.
Yeah,
that's about it.
And he was in the Fantasy Island show with the little guy from Man with the Golden Gun.
Yeah, he was on that.
Boss, they're playing.
I like the bit about Romulan ale on his birthday and shit, and he brings it over for them to drink, and gives them the glasses. They're like 400-year-old antiques. It's a bit that comes back later, obviously, when he puts them on. It's pretty cool. I like that.
It comes back in Star Trek 4 because they go back in time and he sells them. So he ends up like a predestination paradox.
Yeah, and then I recognized Paul Winfield from Terminator
Mm-hmm.
as the captain of the, what's that ship called? The Reliant?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They head out on a training voyage. That's pretty cool. Again, feels very much like the 2009 Star Trek.
Were you guys fooled in the beginning? Did you think that they were really under attack? Do you think they were really dying?
I was, until I saw the shitty spark explosion, and I was like, okay, this has to be sort of a reference to how shitty it looked in the 60s.
Well, like the fake death, like it just seemed like a spoof to like the deaths in the old series. So I was like, no, that's not
You're
it.
like, why aren't they showing the outside of the ship?
Yeah, I bought it until that point, until I saw the fake explosion, and I was like, wait, no.
That was pretty cool seeing though, just the simulated training, and like you kind of get to know some of these characters, and you're like, hey, wait a second, where's Captain Kirk? You're like, bitch, it's Admiral.
Yep, he was Admiral in the first movie, so that's something you kind of miss, not seeing that.
That's about the only major change, right, though, is the title change for him.
Yeah. The ship was redesigned from the original series also. There's some...
Yeah.
That they acknowledge in the first film.
Oh, there's like
a little more updated, a little more detail to the model, and some design changes.
Yeah, I'm sure you'd update,
Because the old model lacked detail for a motion picture,
Well,
yeah, I don't know how the old series was, but it was like some of these characters were very minor in this movie.
Yeah, they're pretty minor in the series. I mean, some episodes they get more to do, but it's really
like
always...
Uhura was fucking nowhere.
Yeah, it was always focused on Kirk, Spock, and McCoy.
Even McCoy was only there to suck Kirk's dick in this. It's okay, buddy. Let me give you a little handy for good times.
Yeah, and
but Spock and Kirk I definitely loved. McCoy I could do without, but that's not because of any other, it wasn't terrible or anything. It's just like, whatever.
He was a good character, though.
He did his job well enough. And George Takei is interesting because he's obviously not in a fuck ton of it, but he's in there enough because he has to be talked to a lot, told what to do all the time.
Well, really, he should have been the first officer on Reliant because he was older and, he should have been higher in rank than Chekhov. I'm not sure what... And Chekhov wasn't in the original series episode. Like, he hadn't been introduced yet, so it's kind of... Doesn't really make sense. I guess you just assume he was already on the ship. They just never introduced him before
yeah,
that.
sure. Yeah, I mean, as large of a crew as that ship would have,
So it would have made a lot more sense for Sulu to have been in that position, but...
Yeah, but he's not even on the Reliant, though, is he? He's basically on the Enterprise, helping out.
Right, but
he's on the Reliant at first, isn't he?
Oh, Chekhov was, yeah.
Yeah, Chekhov is. No,
yeah.
I meant Sulu.
But it should have been Sulu, though. It would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah, and some of the original characters, like he mentioned, like I just felt like they were underutilized. Even Kirstie Alley's character, like in that second half of the film, just kind of just drops off the face of the earth.
Her character has a much bigger role in the third one.
Yeah, and then, what I found underwhelming in this movie is Kirk's son. They didn't make as big of a deal out of that as I would have thought.
He has a bigger role in the third one, too.
Yeah, but he dies, doesn't he?
How dare you.
No. I mean, you spoiled me on that.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't die. That's crazy.
You can't kill Captain Kirk's son in the next one.
No,
why would you do that? The actor dies is what happens. He dies of HIV.
Actor, yeah, he died like...
And he wasn't even...
Maybe a few years after the third movie?
89, I want to say? Right after, yeah.
Well, shit.
Yeah, he was actually in an episode of Next Generation also, like the first season, which was like
maybe he died in that. Yeah,
no,
maybe he died
it was in the 80s, though, yeah. He died like not long after. I think he already was like sick. You can kind of see when you watch him on the Next Generation.
It's a different character, though. So
yeah, it was a different character. Not because he dies, though.
No. Just because he was cast as a different character.
Right,
so.
exactly. And that's like 100 years later.
So there you go. What? I can't believe I spoiled that for Alec. He's gonna forget by the time we get there anyway. He's so high.
Go smoke a lot of weed.
I'll remember that.
He's gonna remember that now because I told him not to remember that. Normally, you Jedi mind trick him.
We're making too big of a deal of it now.
Yeah, I was just underwhelmed. Like, hey, here's your son, and his son's kind of a dick, and he's not even like, what was it like to be you growing up? He's just like, what's up, dude?
I fucked a lot of women.
Yeah, and he's just jealous that his dad.
One of them was your mother.
He's just jealous that his dad was like laying dong everywhere.
Space dong.
Space dong. The final frontier.
Green women.
So what y'all think of the space battles? Obviously they didn't have enough budget to go too crazy.
I was about to say they're okay. I mean, they're fine.
It's more of a submarine kind of.
This is one of those movies that I'm totally fine with it being more political and more talking and less just dumb action. I don't need as much of that.
Yeah, because I mean, and the thing is,
one of the best scenes to me is, I'm sorry to interrupt again, but like that whole Kirk and McCoy talking at Kirk's place, and he's like, "What the fuck is your problem, Kirk? It's your birthday. Get over it, you bitch."
Yeah, I didn't even think about it when I picked this movie. It's like it's Captain Kirk's birthday in the movie.
Yeah,
he's having this like existential crisis of growing older.
I feel young.
Yeah, apparently Nick is too, because that's why I picked this movie.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Well, we had talked about doing Star Trek movies, I think, at one point, and then obviously this is considered the best. Well, I don't know. It's
of the original
it's a-
series stuff.
it's-
Yeah, there's some really fucking good Next Generation movies.
It's close for me. I think I might prefer 3.
Because I remember just as a kid, I'd go see all the Next Generation stuff that was just coming out in theaters, and I enjoyed all of them.
Yeah,
I just
First Contact was really good with the Borg.
that was a really fucking good movie. Yeah,
It was kind of horror-y.
It had some good elements too.
I remember seeing trailers for Captain Kirk fighting people, or not Captain Kirk,
Picard.
Yeah, Picard, and fighting people in the desert.
Oh, that was probably the 4th one. Yeah.
Khan's a great villain in this though because he's so fucking as intelligent and superhuman as he's supposed to be. Like even his people are like, "Why are you doing this? Like we've got the ship, the Reliant. We can go do whatever the fuck we want." And he's like, "Revenge."
Yeah, he's like super intelligent and everything, but he's also like 300 years out of time, so he's not quite as familiar with.
And he's fucking
space battles and.
Well, he's petty as fuck too, because that's how they
Yeah.
are able to defeat him. Like he's not thinking in the 3D; he's thinking in two-dimensional warfare. Like,
And
oh.
he's emotional.
Yeah.
And constantly quoting Shakespeare.
Yes.
Oh, you have the classic line, "The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few."
That's from Tale of Two Cities, I think.
It's been quoted
Quoted other
elsewhere
lines already.
as a line from the Bible. What is that in? Somebody references it that they're like, "It's in the Bible," and then somebody else is like, "No, that's from Star Trek." Later on.
Oh yeah.
Oh, what's the Quentin Tarantino movie where he quotes Star Trek 2 in the opening text? It's like "Revenge is a dish." I think it's Kill Bill.
It is.
"Revenge is a dish best served cold," and he writes Klingon proverb.
Yes.
Even though I think it's from Shakespeare, but the Klingons somehow were in Shakespeare, as you'd see in the 6th movie. But
Either way.
yeah,
It's like Doctor Who.
Well,
Doctor Who does that where they're like, "Oh, Doctor is interacted with Da Vinci and all this shit."
Tarantino's a big Star Trek fan. He was trying to do a Star Trek movie for his 10th and final film, and I think that's
Well, he was trying to do a movie, but it doesn't even mean he was necessarily going to direct it. I think he was just going to produce one.
No, I think he wanted to direct it, and it was
Yeah.
going to be his final because he's supposedly only going to do 10 direct.
Yeah, but that was talked about way before he even did his 9th movie.
Yeah, it was.
It was scheduled to be done, and that's been off the table for like 5 or 6 years now, I think.
Yeah, and
but I remember when they were talking about
that'd
it.
be interesting for sure.
Well, the other interesting things in this movie that I thought kind of stood out, you've got this whole Project Genesis going on, which kind of just becomes a subplot, really just to get you where you need to be for these interactions.
Yeah, it's kind of a MacGuffin because it's what Khan's after.
And he's not even after it until
Well,
he
he
hears
stumbles
about it.
upon it trying
yeah,
to get
then
to
he's like,
Kirk,
"Oh
yeah.
fuck, this sounds cool. I want that."
But he
Which
was-
I felt like it was one of those things you didn't really need to overdo it, but the concept of it's very interesting. So, like if you were to remake that, I'm surprised they didn't try to run with that concept for the new one, since with the current technology, they could have done some really amazing visual effects just on that concept alone.
And it's a big part of the 3rd movie.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of setup in this one for the next one.
And did they even know that when they're writing it?
I don't think so.
Oh, they just did.
Like this could have
the
been
writing was
this
just
could
well
have
enough.
this
yeah.
could have been the last one for all they knew.
Yeah.
So they didn't know how well it was going to do. So
When Leonard Nimoy didn't even want to come back as Spock in this. Like,
yeah,
that's
he
why.
only came back so long as they killed him. What do you guys think of that? You think they handled it well?
His death, yeah, I thought it was a valiant death. Like he sacrificed.
They didn't show
himself.
him like die on screen.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, they show him being poisoned up against that glass there. With
Yeah, but
Kirk
it
and
doesn't show
everything.
like him just like his final exact moment. It seems
Yeah,
like
it does when he finally slides
on
back
the
down
glass.
on the
maybe
glass.
it bored me enough that I looked away. Then I don't know, because I was waiting for it.
It wasn't like a.
And then I just remember it skipping to the next scene.
It wasn't as dramatic as you would expect because, I mean, Kirk is kind of shaken up by it, but Spock is like, "Look, this is what needs to be done. I'm just going to do it. Doesn't think twice about it."
Kiss me one more time, Kirk.
Yeah. Basically, it just takes care of business. And I think this is the idea that Bill Murray fucking got. I think he stole it from Leonard Nimoy. Like, the only way I'll come back is if you kill me off.
For Ghostbusters.
If you kill me off. I think that's where Bill Murray got that idea from.
I don't know. I mean, that's just a thing people do. Harrison
Yeah.
Ford too. Always wanted to die in Star Wars.
Well, he
He's
said
like,
he
"I'm
wanted-
fucking done," and then they did it for Force Awakens.
And Bill Murray wanted them to name the second movie The Last Ghostbusters or some shit like that.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want any chance to be another
And then he
one.
didn't even get killed in this one, or the last one. Which they should have just fucking killed him.
Well, they're like,
Yeah.
well, we already killed Egon.
No, they
we had to kill Egon. What are you doing?
While we're off track.
Well, we
here-
killed his character too.
Yeah,
Made
while
him
we're
a
off
deadbeat.
Yeah, while they're off track though, they could have just had him be shocked to death accidentally by Sigourney Weaver in the post-credit scene. That would have been the way to fucking kill him off. Have the machine go haywire, and she'd be like,
"Are you okay? Are you okay?"
Venkman?
And she shocks him again.
And he's just fucking laying there, and like you see the puddle of piss because he's incontinent because he's dead.
At least they didn't have bubble gum fall out of his mouth.
Or did they? That could have been an alternate take, Nick.
Jason Reitman's listening right now. He's like,
Riveting.
Damn it. Damn it. Will you say something?
I was just going to get back to Star Trek and just
Yeah,
say
let's
that
talk
the
about Star
ending
Trek.
here was interesting. I'd already seen it parodied in Family Guy, I think. So I kind of knew
Well,
like,
they parodied the Torpedo Bay funeral scene, I know.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Of all the souls I've
This
known,
is the
ever,
most
his
human.
human.
There's a lot of vibes in this that I get with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 and 2 that like I can see the influence of this series and particularly in this
for sure.
movie for there. Right? Like obviously Star-Lord's kind of got that Captain Kirk like man-slut vibe. Obviously with way less finesse than Kirk did just because he's Captain Kirk.
And
you know?
Gamora plays Uhura in the
Yeah,
reboot
that too.
movies.
Oh, fuck. She does.
Yeah.
That was one parallel I hadn't even connected the dots on yet. But then also like the Ravager funeral kind of at the end, like, you know, where they do the funeral thing and that whole bit.
Yeah,
Just
for
kind of
sure.
some of those vibes. But I really love the Genesis look, like when they go inside the planet and you see like
Which
they've
just
already
gives
done.
vibes of Ego in Guardians 2.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's all these
Uh,
things that you just like see being lifted and redone later on. You're like, damn, like you don't
The-
realize the scope of influence it's had.
The
elsewhere.
computer report they watch about Genesis, you know, Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, I think it's supposed to be the first CGI sequence in movie history, like fully rendered sequence. Maybe not.
Oh,
like,
really?
Not like a one shot, but like a whole sequence.
Okay.
Interesting. GoldenEye, from what I read, was the first James Bond to use CGI.
Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, no,
There
I
was something else. Maybe like the first time they rendered Earth in CGI or something too. Maybe there was some other aspect I can't remember though. Even though I didn't like the way the Earth looks in GoldenEye, which I guess we can talk about later.
Yeah.
So it just looks like a big blue ball with no detail to it. But
Yeah, no, this Star Trek 2 holds up. It's a great flick. And then obviously the remake kind of ran with the Khan storyline.
Into Darkness, that was stupid as well.
Yeah. Wasn't terrible, but the thing is, like, these movies, the original Star Trek stuff works so well based on, like, good dialogue and good concepts of, like, humanity and what's right and what's wrong. And, like, I feel like the newer stuff was more like, hey, let's...
Justin's like a
dumb
fucking
action.
Star Trek expert all of a sudden.
I know I am. And then
I think
the
you
new,
did some research.
the
He's
new
talking more than you about it.
Well, the new stuff just feels it's like...
I'm
ah,
curious
they're-
more what you guys are gonna
They're
say.
trying to
I'd
blend
fucking-
that whole Star Wars vibe of, like, hey, we need more action in this. And you're like, you don't really need that.
I can bore you guys with Star Trek trivia if you want. What did you guys expect the tone of this film? Did you expect like kind of the darkness and the?
Well, I haven't watched.
and
This is the
people
first
being
of any Star
tortured?
Trek movie other than those ones that I've watched. I've seen some of the series. I've watched probably 10 episodes of the original series, 5 or 10 of Next Generation,
Yeah.
and then those new movies. That's it so far.
Like I said,
And this was I would definitely say the best out of everything I've watched so far. But again, I really like Next Generation. I want to go back and watch it all. It's just it's an undertaking.
to go through and really
'Cause
get
there's
into
a lot
it.
of,
you know?
That's one of the longer ones, isn't it?
You can go ahead and skip the first 2 seasons if you want.
But see, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I got to get the whole
The
story.
second
I'm
season's
a
actually not
completist.
bad. The first season's a little rough, but yeah, they're 26 episode seasons.
That's
so,
why
yeah.
it bothers me so much that I haven't seen the first one of these movies now. I'm like, fuck.
Go to the theater with me. May 22nd or whatever they're doing.
It's possible.
Well, growing up, having watched the Next Generation stuff, you know, there's a good balance in there for the action for the movies because the series obviously didn't have as much action, but the movies did a good job of balancing story with action to make it a compelling, worthwhile motion picture. And seeing this in here, you kind of get that stuff because I've never gone back and revisited the original series movies, so I'm kind of curious to go through now that
Yeah,
I've got
I
Paramount Plus for a minute.
I
just to
definitely
try
watched
it.
3 and 4 if I were you guys.
I mean, I'll probably watch them all if I have access to them because honestly, that's a little easier than getting all the way through like the Next Generation right now. You know, that's something that you're gonna have to just dedicate yourself to, especially with all the competing time for it. Right? You know, it's not like a comfort show for me, so I can't just throw it on the background and rewatch it. It's something you kind of want to pay attention to. So, but that's Star Trek 2. What did you see? When was the first time you saw that? Do you remember anything about it? Like the
First time I watched this movie?
Yeah.
I was probably like 9. So I got into Star Trek when I was about 8 or 9, when I was living in Virginia.
Okay. So were you watching Next Generation, then started going back and revisiting all the films from like going to the video store?
I think I started watching like these films, and then I started watching Next Generation on first airing some point in the 5th season.
Okay.
So I was like 92, 93.
Yeah, I remember seeing episodes like be on TV all the time. I just never watching it. And then I remember watching some of the classic episodes of the original series, like on reruns, over the summertime. Like I remember seeing a couple, 2 or 3 in a row at my grandma's house when we were down visiting her. And
the original run was
like
in syndication, so it was like on Fox where I lived, but it might be on NBC here,
Yeah, yeah, based on your local affiliates and all that. Good stuff. It's definitely worth checking out. And even if you're just going to go back and see the influence that it's had on modern media, like to me, seeing all these things in this movie, and I'm like, man, I see where all these movies took some of these concepts or were influenced by those concepts and really did justice to them, at least kind of a nod cap without being like, hey, Member Berry is more like, hey, this shit's awesome, so we're going to do something that's in a similar vein that's kind of our own thing. So, you know what I mean?
Overall, I quite enjoyed it, and it makes me want to watch the rest of these 6 movies.
Did you like it a lot, Justin?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you didn't do your show and tell.
Forgot my show and tell.
Let's go ahead and do
We're
show
going to do
and
that
tell.
here as we wrap this thing up here. So I finally got my Playmobil Ecto 1A. Vendor on Amazon finally had these down for $59.99.
We finally got some stock here in America, and it's kind of fluctuated between $60, $80, and $100. I think it's like $60 right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I got for.
I haven't got one yet, so...
now's the time.
I don't have the time now, so...
And if you're only buying one of these, the thing you don't realize is the original Ecto 1 only came with Janine and Winston.
Janine in uniform, too, but this one comes with all the gray-suited guys, right?
Yeah, all the gray suit characters, yep. And the ghost trap.
I
It comes
took
with a
mine
lot more
out and
accessories.
I put the car together and the stickers, but I haven't messed with the figures yet.
And 2 slime blowers, so it's pretty
Yeah.
cool. We're going to do a
Looks like I got the
unboxing video.
firehouse. Oh, I can't wait to get that firehouse. We gotta make some room for it, though.
Yeah.
Well, that's been the show, I guess.
Thanks for subscribing. If you're not on our Patreon, check it out. We recorded a commentary for Ninja Turtles.
The original
Ninja Turtles movie tonight, and it's fucking amazingly vulgar and bizarre.
Don't let your children listen.
Dear God, don't.
Oh, no. Your
or
children,
do.
yeah.
I don't know.
No. I mean, if your children...
If they're like 16 and they're emotionally mature and you have a good relationship with them, sure, watch it with them.
If they talk a lot, they talk a lot about poop.
Or if they're older than that, sure.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a grandparent...
There's a lot of talk about
you're a
peeing on
grandparent.
Splinter and having cum dried in his fur, so...
And, yeah, shit in his fur, piss in his fur.
I have diarrhea, and I'm standing in it.
Yeah, that movie's dark one, though, when we break it down the way we did, because the realities of that situation are disgusting.
Yes.
So check out the commentary to hear all the details, the nitty-gritty. And we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Fucking play the outro music, you son of a bitch.
Well, you're the one leading out before I have any sort of buttons ready, so then we're just awkwardly scrambling here.
Waiting on Alec to quit fucking around.
Because you went early. You fucking prematurely ejaculated the podcast.
No, I didn't. You just weren't ready because you're high.
I'm always ready.
You can edit this in post.
I'm not editing shit. I'll tell you that right now.
He doesn't know how to.
Just snap.
No, he knows how to do great editing. He just chooses not to do unnecessary editing.
It's a pain in the ass, and it makes files annoying, big sizes, and deletes. It's a whole thing. Good night, everybody.
Shut this off. Shut these all off.